fans of high-quality entertainment. Welcome to my latest series where I rank the discography of different artists and different bands. This time, I am ranking and reviewing Andy Warhol. The Velvet Underground, that's right. They're 4 albums, and I know there was a 5th one called Squeeze, but as I've said in my community, it was basically a Doug Yule solo album, and they wanted it released as the Velvet Underground so it would maybe sell, even though the Velvet Underground albums never really sold well. For those that are newer viewers, I have ranked and reviewed all of Lou Reed's discography a few months back. I'm a huge fan of Lou Reed, and I have a huge box set. This is his RCA years, and then I have another box set with his Sire years. Debut album by American rock band The Velvet Underground and German singer Nico, released in March 1967 through Verve Records. It was recorded in 1966 while the band were featured on Andy Warhol's tour. The album features experimental performance sensibilities and controversial lyrical topics, including drug abuse, prostitution, and sexual deviancy. Whatever that means, I don't know. It sold poorly and was mostly ignored by contemporary critics, but later became regarded as one of the most influential albums in the history of pop and rock music. Just a little history before I start with rating the album cover and production and everything. So I had heard of I'd obviously heard of Lou Reed, and in 1975 I bought my first Lou Reed album after never hearing of him or the Velvet Underground's music, just knowing of them. And so I bought Coney Island Baby in a cutout bin in 1975. And I loved the album right away, and I was instantly a Lou Reed fan. But the Velvet Underground, I never really heard. I remember being in a record store in the late 70s, early 80s, and somebody was talking about them and what a great album their debut was, and I think it was for this one actually, their second. And somebody was saying how popular it had become, and the record store owner said he had heard it, and he said it was crappy. So that's my first, so I was ready to listen to that, and knowing that it was probably crappy. And I also want to say that I think this, even though it's four albums, this is, I think, going to be the hardest one for me to rank, because I love the Velvet Underground. You're not going to see too many negatives in this series. So I would say in the past, this was my go-to album for the Velvet Underground. It's really the only one that I always focused on, and the other 3 not so much. In fact, Loaded I never even bought until last year. And this one I've had it for at least 5 years. This is this is for their 45th anniversary. Yeah. 45th anniversary remaster. I've always liked it, but I've only liked maybe half of the songs. The other half of the songs I thought were just okay. But doing this series, actually for the last few months, I've listened to this a bit more, and I've enjoyed it more and more. So I'll get to my ratings and rankings in a second. The album cover is, of course, known as a classic, and on the original vinyl, here it would say, peel slowly and see. Really small print. And then, of course, there would be a sticker, and you would pull that, and it'd be really exciting. It'd be the inside of the banana. The album cover, of course, because when people see that now, they consider it a classic album cover, and with Andy Warhol and all that. But if you knew nothing about the Velvet Underground and you just saw this in a record store back in the day, you might not think it's the greatest album cover. So it's a hard one to rate, but I kind of think it's so unique, so original, kind of crazy. I will give it a B+. The production on this, it's not the greatest production, but it's one of those things that once you get used to the production on some of these Velvet Underground albums, they're not the greatest, like I said, not the greatest production. You kind of get used to the production though, and you start to think, if this was better produced, maybe it would take away something from the songs, if that makes any sense. I don't know, I just woke up. The three best songs, really difficult, but I chose I'm Waiting for My Man, Venus in Furs, and Heroin. And Femme Fatale, Altamore's Parties were really difficult not to have in the top three, but you can only have three songs in the top three. I bet you didn't know that. My least favorite song, but I still love it, is There She Goes Again. So, the album starts with Sunday Morning, which is a nice, breezy, pleasant song. And if you've never heard the Velvet Underground before, you're going to think, oh, this is going to be a nice album. Until you get to the Black Angel's Death song and European Sun. That's the other thing I love about Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground is they are probably the most extreme band to go from the most beautiful, gorgeous, quiet music to the most extreme and brutal, but still great music. I'm Waiting for the Man I've Always Loved, instant classic. Femme Fatale, excellent. I love Nico's vocals on the songs that she sings on this. Venus in Furs is superb. Run, 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 I think I used to hate it. And it was mainly because of the production too. It sounded bad. But like I said, I've gotten used to the production and I love the song now. It's really actually pretty hooky, especially the chorus. To all tomorrow's parties, I love that. Heroin, of course, and I used to like it. I always liked it. But through the years, I've grown to admire it for what it is. I think this was 1966, and they're singing, they're writing about heroin, and Lou Reed in the song he's telling you the experience of being on heroin, and you can actually feel it, when the tempo changes and everything, and it's kind of a scary song, just like heroin. There She Goes Again, I really love. I'll Be Your Mirror is a sweet song. And then it ends with the Black Angel's Death song in European Sun, which for quite a long time I did not like them. Sometimes I didn't even listen to them. I just focused on the songs I love, like Venus in Furs. I'm Waiting for the Man, and I wouldn't even bother listening to them. But in time, and especially with this series, I listened to this, I think, at least 4 times. It's all part of the journey, and I absolutely love, especially European Sun, when the last few minutes when it's just going crazy and guitar feedback. And if you think that is harsh and heavy, wait until the next album with Sister Ray. The European Sun will be considered, that's like a easy listening song compared to Sister Ray. But yeah, I love just the energy of the track. And the brutality. I mean, it's like Motorhead, but even heavier, man. The band members, of course, Lou Reed, as you know, I love. I even love his vocals, even his later years, and of course his guitar work. I feel he's a very underrated guitar player. John Cale, I love, love, love. The viola, electric viola. What else does he play? Piano, bass guitar, backing vocals. Just a great musician. But I never did get into his solo career, and I know some people have mentioned I should check out some of his albums. Sterling Morrison is great on the rhythm guitar, and he plays bass too. And Maureen Tucker on drums, I feel is a very, very, very underrated drummer. Especially with some of the songs coming up on some of the next albums. And also wanted to mention that, you know, this is kind of unique and crazy, but the back cover is very cool. So, the Velvet Underground and Nico, produced by Andy Warhol, I give it an A+. And in my rankings, surprisingly, it goes to number 1. And I really don't, I know that a lot of the Velvet Underground fans consider this their best album. And I don't know if I do or not. But listening to this 4 times in a row, and then going, I think my rankings are going to change from what I thought they would be. I'll say that. Because this is a superb debut album. Thanks for watching. I would love your thoughts on The Velvet Underground and Nico, produced by Andy Warhol, in the comments section below.